what people tell you. I know as gifted as we are, we can pull things and tell people things. And I try to stray away. Like spirit will kind of tell me what to say and what not to say, even though
Mhm.
sometimes they give me information. I don't tell everyone everything because something spirit says is not for me to tell you. It's something for you to kind of see. I think if everyone tells you, or you're this, you're that, you're this, and then you have this someone else's depiction of what you are and where you stem from. I think my personal belief system is that you need to find ways of that going into meditation, L, like that, going into meditation and seeing who you are. I've done a lot of meditations and I've got to see a lot of different past lives, not even going in past life regression, just going into a meditation state when, especially like when I got Aries, it triggered a past life with Aries. And if you see my dog Aries, I've had her since she was a baby. But when I first got her, it triggered that. And all of a sudden, I was doing a meditation, not even for past life. And when I got into this meditation, all of a sudden the life with Aries popped out, and I saw the connection between me and Aries in a past life. And it was like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like I didn't even know. Like, I didn't even get it. So I think sometimes we have to come back to self because remember, all your answers are truly within you. If you really want to understand where you've come from, if you really want to understand your past, you got to go within. And I do believe that because I've sat in many of my own meditations with self and I've got to see these phenomenal things, these phenomenal memories. I've had things trigger different things, and I'm like, oh shit, this is taking me back to a place and time of okay. And I've got to realize that not everything that I like either is not a past life. Like even though I love Roman and Greek shit, I don't have a past life in Rome or Greek. Like, you know what I mean? I don't. I used to love those goddesses and stuff and the mythology behind it, but what I've come to learn is that's not my past life. I think
Mhm.
you got to decide for some shit is just not past life and some things are just things that we like or some things that we're called to. And I would be very careful with someone what someone's telling you what you are, especially relationships. Because I'm going to tell you, I don't care how much I hear it. If someone was to tell me that, like, my mother or father was my, significant other in a past life, I would tell them they're crazy. I wouldn't believe that. There's no way I would accept that. There's just my heart space. And I think if you take your heart and your gut, what do you truly believe after hearing some shit? I think that's your truth. And I think
Yeah.
if we come back to that heart space, that gut feeling, we can always find the truth within us, if that makes sense. Hopefully that's making sense to you guys. Right. I think you got to trust yourself and what you know to be true and believe in yourself. And that's where that self-awareness comes and stop doubting what you know to be true. We say it all the time, right? If you know deep in your heart, you're just like, yeah, that's not for me. Like, yeah, no. I thank
Mhm.
you for your information. You know what I mean? It's like, thank you for your information of what you're seeing. And not to doubt anybody's gifts and not to say people aren't gifted, but I just think some people remember someone is saying something based on their perception. Not everyone has learned how to take their perception out of something. As gifted as a lot of people are, there are a lot of mediums, psychics that still bring in their what they think, right? Personal beliefs come into it. And so there's very few people that have learned how to be objective in a reading.
Mhm.
And if you understand what that means, like if you're objective, you're not looking through your lens. You're looking purely of the information coming to you. You're taking your personal opinion out of it. And you can kind of see the tone when someone has a personal opinion.
I I think everybody takes what is comfortable to them because I don't think there's anybody here on this earth that can, and I know people are going to disagree with me, but I don't think anyone can 100% say that their way is the right way. So, just like religion and just like anything like that, we take what is comfortable to us, what makes us like be okay. You know what I mean? Because I can't say that psychics who do that are wrong. I don't know. Maybe they're right. It's not for me. I don't feel it. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I have certain things, spirit guides or angels or whatever. I have my ancestors. That's what I'm close to. But shit, hell, I might die and find out that I had a whole fucking team of people hanging around me and they were like, you didn't fucking see us, motherfucker. Like, damn, bitch. You didn't see, and maybe I won't. Maybe I only have one ancestor that fucking clung to me. I don't fucking know. But I think for the most part, we always take what's comfortable or what resonates to us in our way. And
Right.
I'm so freaking logical. I'm so
Right.
like I don't try to be, but I try to like rule things out with logic first. And then if
Right.
it
Right.
still don't make sense, I'm like, okay, maybe that's it. But it's about,
I
because nobody really knows. I don't know if somebody else's, you know, sayings or things like that is wrong.
Well, that's, in the beginning, that was one of our struggles. Because if you guys
Yeah.
don't know, me and Nicole have been on this path about the same time. And when we met in the earlier stages of our paths, right? And so that was one of our problems
Yeah.
where we've actually had to go toe to toe with some readers that have been around us with that, like forcing their belief systems and what they see and what they do on other people. And that's something that I'm always against, because in my path,
Hmm.
I've never been called to spirit guides. Not one time. Not one time have I ever been called to this spirit guides around me. And like, you would see people like, yeah, I talk to Bob or Susie, and Susie does this for me and then help me with this. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. What I feel like is spirit guides, ancestors, they come as you need them. If it's needed
Hmm.
in your path, they're there. If it's not needed, it's not needed. And so people would look at me like, who do you think you are that you don't have a spirit guide? Oh, I'm sorry that in my path, I
Right.
have called to higher self. Even if you go back to the beginning videos of me, like I always talked about higher self because that's where I was pulled. I was always pulled, and my higher self actually is a little bit more elevated. Even the lady who did my past life regression,
Okay.
she's like, most people, their higher self is not as, she didn't say, she said, not as matured as yours is. And if you listen to my higher self on that video, not video, but audio, my higher self was very to the point, didn't explain shit, didn't have a personality. It was just it was. There was neither there nor, you know what I mean? So I kind of feel like that's where you have to go back to self, your path,
Hmm.
where you're, if I would have been someone who's like, well, I guess I do have spirit guides, but I never was called to that. And I was never the type that I'm just going to start making up spirit guides because everybody has a spirit guide. It did make me feel a certain way,
Yeah.
like, damn,
I,
why don't I have spirit guides?
I
Like, where am
do
I at?
when people are always trying to give a name, right, to these spirit guides. If we've had several lives, we would have had several names. Like,
Hmm.
really? You know what I mean? Like, maybe your higher self is your spirit guide.
Right, right, right. I've talked about that too before,
Like
where,
maybe your higher self is your actual spirit guide. Maybe it's that soul part of you, that intuition part of you, that
yeah,
conscious part of you. You know what I mean? Like, but I hate that everyone needs a name, a rhyme, and a reason for
right.
everything that goes on.
Darcy, if you're still on here, Darcy, I can take a donation, boo. Yeah, I think that's the labels, the labeling everything, because, it's just like, well, then who are you talking to? Who's
Right.
guiding you? And one thing I always say is I let my intuition guide me. There is no where I have to be like, oh, well, who is this? Grandma, is it you? You know what I mean? Like, I just get that feeling. If I get the feeling of no, it's no. If I get the feeling of yes, it's yes. It's just that's kind of how I roll. But people, I think people get scared of well, if you're not talking to Bob, the spirit guide, right? Well, who are you talking to? And I feel like you always can set the intention to only allow higher energy around you. You don't have to let lower level energy around you. You don't have to take advice from lower level energy, right? So I feel like that the terms of who's speaking to me, as long as it's not, because higher level energy, right? You know if it's a
Hmm.
lower level. Because lower level energy is malicious in some ways. It's confusing. It just is. We know the difference between the light and dark energy, you know? So I think it's really up to you. And I remember in the beginning of my path feeling a certain way of people trying to make me feel like I was less than them because I didn't
Yeah.
have a team of fucking spirit guides. And it was just like, I'm not less than you because I don't have 20 fucking spirit guides around me. And the more I researched it, the more articles I came across is where a lot of other spiritualists were talking about spirit guides are as you need them, if you need them. You don't always have to have them. They come as you need them. Just like imaginary friends for children. They come when you need them and then they disappear when you don't. It's the same kind of concept. If you need this energy, then hey, they're there. Doesn't make me feel like, oh, I'm better than someone because I didn't need a spirit guide. And just in this
Right.
moment, I don't. I trust my higher self. So that comes with the ego and the fucking, you know what I mean? That whole I'm higher than thou, because in the beginning of a lot of people's spiritual paths, the ego comes in and I'm better than everyone because I'm awakened.
Right.
Trying to fucking, I'm better because I'm awakened and they're not awakened.
Yeah, because I've never had run-ins with the archangels. Not that I don't believe in them, not at all. I just believe, hey, whatever freaking happens, happens. I just go with the flow. I'm gonna die and figure it out one day. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not in a rush to make any truths or any non-truths about nothing. Whatever makes people feel better, great.
Well, just
And
like
when I die, I'll figure it all out. And maybe we're all just completely fucking wrong. You know what I mean? Maybe we die and we realize we were all just wrong as fuck. Like,
I, I just go with the flow. It's kind of like, when you get to a certain point, you're no longer trying to prove who you are, what you believe in. You're not trying to prove your belief system on someone else. You're not trying to force someone to convert to what you believe. You're just doing your thing. And that's how you know you've elevated. When you're just doing your thing and you're just like, okay, that's your experience. This is my experience. We'll agree to disagree and move forward. That's how you kind of know the flow that you're doing good. You're good. It's when you need to prove your belief system. I need to
mhm.
prove to you that there's a past life. I don't got to prove to you that there's a past life.
Yeah.
That ain't up to me. I know my experience and I can only tell you my experience. And I think we've been like that from the beginning. Like, well, this is
Mhm.
my experience. That's your experience. I remember someone trying to argue with us that there was no evil in the world. And it's like, well, how the fuck you figure that?
Right.
Like, wait a minute. Maybe you haven't seen evil in the world and your life has been all
Right.
peaches and motherfucking rainbows, but I done seen some crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
We've had all the debates.
right.
Heaven and
We have.
hell, heaven and hell, and evil and no evil, and you either had to be light or you had to be dark. We've had them all.
I we this
All.
path comes with it. It comes with it. It comes with it. Dana and Darcy, I need well, Dana, I need your question because you did pendulum question. I need to know what you want to know. It's a yes or no. Pendulum is yes or no. And then Darcy, new person. Yeah, we've had all, and I think we will probably do, of course, morning shows with the topics and just kind of bring them up so we can discuss each one because it does bring up, um, that kind of like this, that, and the third.
Mhm.
Just don't let anybody make you guys feel like you're less than them because of this, that, and the fucking third.
Yeah.
You know, I have never got on a high horse of what knowledge I have or this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Just to like I'm higher than thou. I think that you can be confident in your energy and confident in your gifts without going into ego. And I
Mhm.
think you stand in your power and comfort and then be like, because one of the biggest things I always say is right when someone says, "Oh, I don't need cards to read," that's already ego. You already went there. Like you just
Mhm.
full on into ego because you don't need cards. Okay, you want a fucking medal? But you don't
Right.
need.
Congratulations. No, hand me my card. Like,
Like, are you saying you're better than others because they use cards? You know what I mean? Like, don't downgrade fucking tarot cards. Okay. I just think that's when people need to realize that they're still an ego. Like, no, you're not
mhm.
as enlightened as you want. As soon as you say that, like, I don't even need cards. No, that's all your ego, but you're hey, sitting that, right?
So
All
be
right,
it.
Dana. All right, Dana, you said, are you going to get a job, a good job soon?